Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wild to Wisdom series. My name is Suzanne Michelle, and I am your intuition coach. So people ask me all the time, what is intuition and how can I use it? Well, I describe intuition as irrational information. It has no reason. It has no conclusion. It has no linear timeline to follow. It's simply snippets of irrational information that comes into our awareness, and then we have to do our own detective work to decode the messages, right? And this can be very frustrating and tedious because this means if we really want to live intuitively, we are opening ourselves to the vulnerability of exposing our own status quo living for the sake of honest living. So, if you are someone who is committed to intuitive living, something is going to happen next that will feel like a sneak attack on your very existence. And I haven't heard many people talking about this because, it's probably not very popular and it's not a feel-good subject. But it is the truth of intuitive living, and I would like to share with you this valuable insight. So here you are, you're living all intuitively and in love and light, and then something happens that shakes your world, okay? And you can fill in the blank of what that shakeup is because we've all had shakeups, right? Well, when you make that commitment to live wholeheartedly and intuitively, the number one amazing sharpening tool of awareness to your intuition comes online and can even shake up your world. And this sharpening tool is called conflict. Conflict asks us to confront our shadows. Those places where we hide from the world? Now, if we took a poll and asked 100 people if they are comfortable with conflict, probably 90% or more would begin to wiggle in their seats just at the mention of the word. And of those possible 10% who may feel they are comfortable with it, probably about 99.9% of those people don't do conflict well. So that leaves less than, 0.01% of people in the world able to handle conflict in a healthy way? That's not very many people. No wonder there's so much war and inequality and lies and suppression and greed among other life-sucking ways in which we hide behind our beautiful humanity. It's really sad, actually. And I'm not exempt from my own inadequacies of dealing with conflict in a healthy way. But heck, you know what? I am totally willing to expose my vulnerabilities to learn how to deal with it because it is that important to humanity. So when most people are addressed with conflict, they do a myriad of things as a knee-jerk reaction to it, right? They defend, they hide, or they bolt out of a situation. They may puff up and face it with all their weapons, which is also defensive and a form of hiding. But it's very rare that people embrace and walk through conflict in a healthy and productive way that offers mature closure to a conflict. And I also know people who say they surrender to conflict, but that's also another way of deflection because surrender to conflict is not proactive and doesn't solve anything. Usually surrendering under pressure is an avoidance mechanism to prematurely bring closure to a situation that isn't all the way cooked. And I'm not saying surrender is not useful. It is, but it's usually not the healthiest choice in context to conflict in relationships. So some people use surrender as a way to control. They say, I give up, I'm leaving, but they really never give the conflict a chance to explore a divergent outcome and evolve into a convergent resolution. So there is a conflict resolution social study that understands that divergent thinking leads to convergent thinking. So basically, divergent thinking is thinking outside the box and considering perspectives that are that are different from our own. And when we rule out limitations and illusions, we come up with convergent ideas that will help us focus and make good decisions. And I can't remember specifically who coined this idea that divergent thinking leads to convergent resolution, but a long time ago in college, I was learning about cooperative learning, and we were learning how to come up with new technology ideas and take action from these ideas through group learning. So we all had to listen to one another brainstorm, right? Without judgment or jumping to conclusions about how this idea or that idea was right or wrong, right? So we had to practice using divergent thinking. And then as a group, we converged those divergent ideas into real and practical focused action steps. And it was fascinating. And to this day, I still use that practice in really the best way that I can, not all the time. So what does this have to do with intuition? Well, when you get an intuitive hit, most likely the committee in your head will begin to create conflict with your knowing heart. So if you are uncomfortable with conflict, you might bolt, you might fight, you might turn into a victim. You might manipulate and strategize to get your heart to do what your mind is bullying you towards. I mean, it's absolutely crazy days when you find yourself in this position. I totally know it. So what do you do when you get an intuitive hit and you begin to sense the conflict rise in your awareness? Well, remember, divergent thinking leads to convergent thinking. So go ahead and Google this concept and study up and reflect on how you deal with conflict. And also, get your energetic body in check. Find a body worker or a counselor in your area that works with the subtle energy and can help you through your process, okay? Your emotional energy is directly related to how well you can handle an intuitive knowing. Okay? And if you are not emotionally mature in conflict resolution, you won't be acting intuitively. You will remain in the throes of your mind and act from pattern recognition instead of true intuition. And this keeps you in an unconscious, wild instinct mindset as opposed to conscious, intuitive wisdom. So intuition is the messenger between the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. That's it. It's just a messenger. Your intuition is asking you to sharpen its usefulness by resolving conflict in your life, by practicing divergent thinking. And as counterintuitive as it may sound, intuition uses the part of the higher thinking mind as a way to convey the messages from our heart. So intuition is not all heart-based. It comes from there, but true intuition is the integration of the most expanded heart in harmony and out of conflict with the higher mind. Okay, so there you have it. I feel like my head's going to explode. If you'd like to contact me for a private session or receive more in-depth activation to the work I share in these short videos, you can always contact me at Suzanne@revivewithtenergy.com. And if you like this message, give it a thumbs up. And in the meantime, I'm telling you what, intuition, it's such a great tool to help you to navigate your life. And divergent thinking leads to convergent thinking and amazing solutions. I mean, this is where all the miracles and magic live. So until next time, I just wish you all the best, and I will see you later.